Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, I'm going to show you a really cool puzzle that was suggested to me on Discord. It's white to play and win. Take a second, see if you can solve this. It is absolutely insane. If you look at this, you just see black is threatening a lot of things, right? Discover check if the bishop moves, checkmate if the queen comes down here. White's also threatening to get a queen. There's some tension with the bishop and the queen. This rook is hanging with this bishop. There's a lot to think about. There's a check that could be thrown in from black. Just sit here for a second, see if you can figure it out. It is super, super cool, and I really encourage you to watch till the end because it's just insane. So while you're thinking about that, let me encourage you to subscribe if you haven't yet already. Half of the income I earn in this channel goes directly to charity, so every like, every subscriber, it helps us out a lot. Okay. Let's get started here. So let's kind of talk about the obvious things. At least I'll use that word how I thought of it. The first thought was like, why can't I just take this and promote to a queen? It seems like that's a good idea. If I do that, let's see what happens. So obviously they take, right? Seems pretty normal. And I can take this with check. And I'm thinking there's nothing wrong with this. Now this king has to move. So where can it move? Right, this bishop is giving a check. So the king can move to this square. I'll use a different color. This square, or this square. And I was sitting here thinking, well, I can give a discovered check with the knight at some point. So if it goes to any of these dark squares, I'd be winning, right? If it went here, I'd be able to check, and this is discovered check. Discover attack on the queen, but it's a check. And then the same thing goes the other square. So if the king comes here, same concept. Check this way, still attacking the queen. And I'll end up winning the queen and winning the game. And then same concept here, right? Just it's a complete blunder. Just here, your queen is mine. But I just told you where the king could move, right? The king could move to this square, this square, this square, and this square. B7 is where I started to kind of run into some challenges. Like, well, what do I do here? And the truth is, despite all of that, I really don't have an answer. There's nothing I can do. So even though I got to take that rook with check, and then take this rook with check, I'm stuck. Black is winning in this position. Any knight move doesn't come with check, which means I'm getting hit right here. And you might want to try to throw something like this in, but either way, you're not moving the knight with check. So if you're thinking about doing something like this, discovered attack on the queen, wait a second, your back rank is completely exposed. So you lose the game. So you're like, okay, what do I do? Well, that first move is the incorrect move. Right? King b7 gets me out of that whole variation. And maybe you thought about something else, right? Maybe after you promote and take, maybe there's some other move you have here, but there really isn't anything else, right? The engine is saying the best move is bishop takes g4. What else are you playing in this position? There's no way to stop this, even though your bishop, if only your bishop could like jump over and somehow guard everything. That's not how it works. So after thinking about that, it makes sense that this is ruled out. Okay, so we're kind of back to square one. What about a knight check? That seems reasonable. This one or this one. So I thought about this, saying, well, I'm attacking the queen. So this move seems pretty reasonable. And we'll look at that in a second, but I want to make sure it's clear why this doesn't work. If you check with the knight, the queen's under attack. But black's best move is just to swipe the knight with the rook. Bang, what a nice move. So if you take this, make sure you're careful here as black. If you take this with check, this rook just pivoted on this square and can take your bishop. And now if you were to promote that pawn, I can just take it as black. So this idea of knight c6 doesn't quite work. So before I look at knight a6, which is the correct first move, but then it gets even more complicated, are there any other moves to consider? Like maybe there's some puzzle instinct to like, oh, I can push this and promote. No, it doesn't make any sense. This move is the only reasonable first move. It's a discovery on the queen. and things are starting to cook up. But let's see what happens after that. So knight a6. Great. First move. Let's give that the exclamation point. You found it. Now you have to recognize how insane this puzzle gets. So the king. Where can the king go? The king can go to b7, a7, and a8. Okay. So which one do I go to? Well, let's just talk about it. Let's go in order. If I go to a8, which this feels crazy, right? I'm allowing my queen to be captured. I'm allowing my rook to hang with check and promotion. You still have to be so careful. If I take this, which again, who doesn't think this? In a blitz game, who's not doing this? If I take this and promote to a queen, this is a draw. What? Let's explain this. So why is it a draw? I promote to a queen. What's the best move for black? They pretty much have two moves. You can block with the queen. Don't do that, because that'll lead to mate. Or they can move the king. If they move the king, here's where it gets crazy. I'm kind of stalemating them in a sense, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. I obviously want to take this queen, and if I don't take this queen, there's other things to talk about. So the computer is saying I should go queen a8 just to give the queen up. I'll explain what this means and how we're getting there. But the move that everybody would play is take this queen. Why not? Well, notice this is a stalemating idea, right? This king is blocked off, which means black has this amazing idea of bishop h2, double check. Double check means the king has to move. And no matter what happens, whether you take the bishop or run away, it's going to be a draw. So I should say you don't want to go this way. It's not a draw here. You just lose. But if you take the bishop, you just sacrifice your rook as black, and they can't ever take it because it will be stalemate, which means it's either a draw by repetition or it's a draw by stalemate, like this. So all the way back, the whole thing I'm saying is you can't promote to a queen. Isn't that crazy? You can't promote to a queen. You have to instead promote to a rook to make this work. And we're going to go back in a second to talk about the other variations. But before I go that direction, if you do promote to a queen, you might think, well, what else could I do? Instead of taking this bishop, do I have another move? Not really. Like, what's your other move? Maybe you're thinking, hey, I have to protect this square, so I'll just drop back. That way I'm protecting my bishop and I'm protecting this square. Maybe that's what you're thinking, right? I'm trying to protect everything. Well, now you're just losing. Queen takes f4, swipes in. I'm threatening to move this. I'm threatening lots of stuff. There's a lot of threats here, and you really can't address them. The computer is saying the best thing to do is to give your queen just, like, not good it up, but just exchange it. Queen takes. This takes. Take here with check, do you think? Or something else? No, the computer says rook f4. I don't need to take you with check because then my rook would hang. Instead, rook f4. And I'm weaving some kind of very scary threat here. So be careful of these things. So let's just back up a little bit, because this puzzle is insane. It's like an inception puzzle. It's a puzzle within a puzzle within a puzzle. So all of this comes from if the king goes to a8. And we'll see, like I just said, if you promote to a queen, it's different. But if you promote to a rook, they don't have that same maneuver, right? If you do this, you can take the queen now, and this stalemating trap does not work. They can give everything up, like this, take everything, take everything, and now the king has one square. So this doesn't work for black, right? Black would not be allowed to hang with this variation. So it just shows that you have to under-promote in that instance. That's the whole point. That's if they go to a8. All of that is the sub of if a8. Now, what about a7? You might say, okay, great, that move is out. What about a7? What happens here? Well, you know how much I have to show you this because it's so cool. You promote to a knight. Look at this. That's a fork. Where does the king go? It doesn't matter. It's going to be a win no matter what, right? You take, and everything is fine. This is protected. No stalemates. They have squares. You're good. This is hanging next. You win the game. Okay, that's cool. So if they go to A8, you promote to a rook. If they go to A8, you promote to a rook. We just talked about that. If they go to A7, you promote to a knight. We just talked about that. Where do you think this is going? If they go to the last option, B7, what is the answer here? I have a feeling you might know the answer. If you promote to a queen, this is a blunder. Not because the king takes, that would be a mistake from their side. Instead, it leads us back to that same position we saw in the first variation. The king would step aside. Super smart move. And now this is essentially the same thing we saw before. So what would it be? Well, it's a draw. Again, the computer is saying don't take this, because if you do, again, the exact same variation, we have this desperado kind of thing, if that's the right term, just give up everything, and now it's stalemate. That's crazy. So you can't promote to a queen. In this variation where the king goes to B7, you cannot promote to a queen. Instead, you know where I'm going with this, you have to promote to a bishop. What in the world is happening? How cool of a puzzle is this? Now, if they walk away, like this, in that other variation, you can take this, not an issue. Because look, it looks like I'm splitting everything up, but there's one square. So this whole strategy does not work anymore. And this would be a kind of a fun position to play, but it's very clear that white is winning, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. They have only a couple. So not worth it. The computer is saying the best chance is H2. You play king H1 and you say, okay, now what? How are you going to hurt me? There's not really anything to do. If only this rook could, like, I don't know, pop around here somehow. But that's not how it works. So after this bishop move, if they take, obviously you win this game. What do you do here, though? Do you take on D6? No. If you take on D6, there's a problem. What's the problem? Well, look, cutting here, but I just gave this up. The answer here is it's a draw because they can play rook G8, drop back. There's a lot of threats here, and everything, all that work you just did is gone. Instead, you have to flick in this check, which I think most people would do if they already saw all this up to this point. But you flick in this check, and then when the king moves, doesn't really matter where, I'm just going to take this queen, and now I'm up a lot of material. Isn't that puzzle just ridiculous? Just look at this one more time really fast. I'm not going to talk too much more. The idea is you can't take right away and promote to a queen. That doesn't work. This works, but no matter which square they pick, you have to promote to a different piece. Go here, you have to promote to a rook. Amazing. Go here, you have to promote to a knight. Fork the house, everybody wins. Amazing. Go here, you have to promote to the very rare bishop. Again, incredible. Take it, you lose, but make sure you flick in this check. It's super, super cool. I love this puzzle. When I saw it, I'm like, man, I got to make this video because it's so nice. But that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like. It's amazing. If you have any that you've created, feel free to go to my Discord and drop it there. I like to review it, and I'll showcase it here, give you some recognition for your amazing composition. So thanks so much, and until next time, bye.